Starting your day off with a take on Vegas you won't get anywhere else.
Hi, I'm Holly Madison, and I listen to Brian Shapiro.
Hi, this is William Shatner, and I listen to Brian Shapiro.
Hey, this is Larry the Cable Guy, and I listen to Brian Shapiro. Why? Because I'm a good American. So is he. And if you don't listen to him, you need to pack up and leave this country.
This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
Kamala, guys!
What's up, Vegas? Happy Hump Day. That's right. Sharp and Shapiro back at you on a Wednesday. Glad you could be with us. Oh, I'm fired up today, man. I got a lot to get to. I'm angry at the Democrats. That's right. Can you believe it? Brian's angry at the Democrats. Yeah, we'll get to that. Michael Avenatti will be joining us in hour number 2. And, of course, we'll be taking your calls if you have questions for Michael. Boy, like I said, we have a lot to get to. By the way, we're moving this show 9 a.m. to noon starting August 12th. If you were unaware of that. And actually, Michael Avenatti will be in studio on August 12th. Tomorrow on the show, Seth Moulton will be joining us, presidential candidate in studio from the Democratic side. And it's also going to be great to have Fred Gutenberg on the show. If you recall, he's the man who lost his daughter in the Parkland shooting. But Michael Avenatti today in hour number 2. I want to start off with this right off the bat, folks. If you've been watching the Democratic debates, we're going to break it down. We're going to talk about the debate last night and what took place today. But I got to tell you, Joe Biden went on the stage tonight, and he was greeted by Kamala Harris. And the mics picked up something that Joe Biden said. And what Joe Biden told Kamala Harris as they shook hands is the exact reason why I am not supporting Joe Biden, even though I do respect him. It is the reason why I would not vote for him. It is the reason why he will not defeat Donald Trump. And I'm going to talk to Michael Avenatti about this hour number 2. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Did you guys see this? Because some of the mics picked it up. You know, they greet all the Democrats on the stage. They greet one another. So Joe Biden greets Kamala Harris, and he says to her, "Take it easy on me, kid." That's what he says to her. If you recall in the first debate, Kamala Harris wiped the floor with him clean. Can you imagine if Joe Biden is the nominee on the Democratic side? Can you imagine him getting on a stage with Donald Trump, shaking hands before debate, and Joe Biden saying, "Hey, Donald, take it easy on me"? That would be the end. That would be it. You might as well get a Sharpie and go ahead and mark Donald Trump in for another 4 years. Now, whether you support Donald Trump or not, whether you want Donald Trump out of office or not, I'm just telling you the truth. This is absurd. And I see some people on Twitter saying, "Oh, come on, calm down. It was just a joke." Joe was just joking. First of all, at minimum, this is not funny. It's not a joke. Not the right time to joke. That's at minimum. Okay, that again, at a complete minimum, you cannot joke around like that. You just can't. It's absurd. So I'm just going to start off by saying that I thought Joe Biden made a completely ridiculous comment. Whether it's a joke or not, at the very least, it makes him look weak. That's what I'm trying to say. What he should have said was, "I'm ready, Kamala. Come at me today. I'm ready. I'm ready to go. Let's do it. Let's do battle." That's what he should have said, and that's the type of person that will defeat Donald Trump. Not the Joe Biden that can't even handle Kamala Harris, that says before the debate even starts as they shake hands, "Take it easy on me, kid." Do you understand the point I'm trying to make here? Again, Democrats that are Joe Biden supporters are going to disagree with me, right? The same reason why when Donald Trump said something that could be construed as racist, people disagree with me on that too. The same reason. If you're biased on the left, you're biased towards Joe Biden. If you're biased on the right, you're going to be biased towards Donald Trump. I'm not biased, folks. Whatever you want to think about me, I'm not biased. Joe Biden is not the fighter that the Democrats need to get on a stage with Donald Trump and defeat him. And that is why I believe Kamala Harris is. She is feisty. She is ready. Joe Biden, what are you doing? And some people might say, well, you know, he's doing a better job tonight. He's doing good. He was just joking around. He was just being charming. That's not being charming. That makes you look weak. Even if he thought he was being charming, it is a mistake. Simply put, it is a mistake. And, you know, I got to tell you, I watched the debate last night, as I'm sure many of you did. And a guy that I support who, unfortunately, I don't think he's got a chance to be the nominee. But I do respect Pete Buttigieg a lot. I don't always agree with everything, and we'll get into that, some of his policies and all that. But I thought Buttigieg had the best moment of the debate last night. And this comment has absolutely nothing to do with politics, and it has everything to do with standing up for doing the right thing.
And if you are watching this at home, and you are a Republican member of Congress, consider the fact that when the sun sets on your career and they are writing your story of all the good and bad things you did in your life, the thing you will be remembered for is whether in this moment with this president you found the courage to stand up to him or you continue to put party over country.
I could not agree with him more. He is absolutely right, and it's what I talk about every day. And the cowards that are in office that are supposed to represent us all, the Republicans on the right that refuse, the Mitch McConnells of the world, that refuse to stand up for what is wrong and say, no, Mr. President, you can't talk like that. You can't say that. You can't tell people to go back to their country. Leave John McCain alone. The man has passed away. Stop going after John McCain. Stop going after people of color. Stop attacking every single person that disagrees with you. Stop tweeting about Saturday Night Live. Pete Buttigieg is absolutely right, and it's sad that I would say this, but I'm saying it because it is what I truly believe, because there's a lot of idiots out there in the world that would not vote for a man because he is a homosexual. And that is sad, because I don't give a flying you-know-what his sexual orientation is. He is a smart man. Now, he's not perfect. He's got issues in his own county. There's no question about that. But I think he is extremely intelligent. And by the way, it's not just his fault, the issues that are going on but with minorities, police. It's not the mayor's fault. He can't control everything when it comes to that sort of thing. But there is something about Pete Buttigieg that I disagree with, and Marianne Williamson, and many of the other Democrats that have been on the stages. And we'll take your calls in a few minutes. Hang tight at 257-5396. And it's in regards to reparations for African Americans. I completely disagree with this. I don't think that people that had absolutely nothing to do with slavery, and I mean nothing, I do not believe that we should have to pay the price for those that suffered. Because first of all, many of the African Americans today did not suffer for what took place years ago. And many Americans had nothing to do with what took place years ago with African Americans. So here's Marianne Williamson, and I want to play this because I think this is very important. This is a moment in the debate last night where she believes that billions of dollars should be paid in reparations to African Americans.
First of all, it's not $500 billion in financial assistance. It's $500 billion, $200 to $500 billion, payment of a debt that is owed. That is what reparations is. It is time for us to simply realize that this country will not heal. All that a country is a collection of people. People heal when there's some deep truth-telling. We need to recognize that when it comes to the economic gap between blacks and whites in America, it does come from a great injustice that has never been dealt with.
Okay, first of all, throwing billions and billions and billions of dollars at people is not going to solve the problem. If you truly believe that there is a huge gap between African Americans and others when it comes to, you know, the workforce and everything in society, throwing money at something is not going to solve the problem. I said the same thing about Colin Kaepernick when he was taking a knee, and people say, well, he's donating money to charity to help underprivileged people. That's not going to solve the problem if you think there are huge issues between law enforcement and minorities. This is not going to solve the problem with racism. In fact, it could make it worse. There's going to be a lot of angry people out there if they're paying more for taxes, paying African Americans for slavery, which many people in this country had nothing to do with. Yes, there are some bad people out there. Yes, there are racists out there. In a perfect world, I wish those are the people that would have to pay for reparations. But I am not for it, and Pete Buttigieg is for it. And I think Marianne Williamson and some of you people out there I just think it's lunacy to think that we should be paying, and I say we because all Americans would be paying for this, up to $500 billion in reparations. When do we stop? Any type of injustice out there, let's just make the taxpayers pay for it. Listen, Anybody who's racist, anybody who thinks that we should go back to those days of slavery, you want to talk about leave the country. Yeah, those are the people I don't want living here. Those are the people that I wish would pay 80% taxes and pay for reparations. But what about the people like me, for example? I'm not racist. I've never said a racist thing in my entire life, anywhere at any time. So with that being said, why should I have to pay more in taxes for something that I had nothing to do with it, for something my family had nothing to do with? I think the Democrats have it wrong here. If you want to talk about $500 billion, let's talk about helping all Americans, not just African Americans, all Americans in this country that are struggling, looking for work. Throwing money at people for reparations is not going to solve the issue. It's just not. We'll take your phone call, 702-257-5396. Again, that number to call, 257-5396. We are talking about the reparations, the debate last night, the debate tonight. What do you guys think about Joe Biden starting off a debate? I don't know if he knew that everyone could hear, but Kamala Harris shakes her hand and says, take it easy on me, kid. Is this the guy that is going to defeat Donald Trump? Again, that number to call if you want to be a part of the show, 257-5396. And, oh, yeah, we are going to get to, the late, great Ronald Reagan. You are not going to believe what he said in a phone call, and yes, it involves race. Again, that number to call, 257-5396. Let's start off with Larry. Larry, what's going on?
Larry, okay, you hung up on me last week because I'm the one that called and said that all the Democrats, all 20 of them, including your buddy, Avenatti, could not beat Trump. You remember that? You hung up on me. Remember that?
Okay, well, first of all, I wouldn't say Michael Avenatti is my buddy. He is a friend of the show. We enjoy having him on.
You're taking your ratings down. What? Could I ask you one other question?
No. No. Wait. Stop. See, this is why I hung up on you last time, Larry. You say things that are not factual, and then you move on to something else. I'll let you ask me. No, wait. I will let you ask me a question, but you hold on. Stop.
Go ahead.
You just said that Michael Avenatti is lowering our ratings. Okay, first of all, that is buffoonery. Do you know we are moving 9 a.m. to noon because of our ratings? Do you not? No, wait. You're gonna be quiet if you say
those are your favorite words.
Okay,
scumbag.
Okay, first of all, are you gonna let me finish? Because you say idiotic things every time you call in.
Okay,
our ratings
go ahead.
Your facts.
Not idiotic. But
Okay, hold on. Okay, a fact is our ratings have quadrupled. That is why. Okay. No, it's not okay. You just said I don't have facts.
I'm just saying great for you.
Okay, so can you admit you just lied? You just misrepresented a fact. You said he brings our ratings down. That's not true, Larry. So we'll move on to something else. Can you admit you are 100% wrong? Yes or no?
Okay, I'm wrong.
Okay, thank you. Number two.
I will find out.
Okay. You go ahead and you do that, Larry. I'm scared. Number two, Michael Avenatti. You call him a scumbag. Would you call the president?
He's a criminal.
What has he been convicted of? Name me one thing.
About that
Excuse me.
You can't tell me anything different.
Excuse me. A criminal.
You don't even know.
Excuse me. A criminal. The definition: somebody who has been convicted of a crime. Can you please name me one? Name me one crime that he has been convicted of quickly.
I said he will be.
Oh, no, you called him a criminal. You didn't say he will be. If you said, I believe he will be convicted of a crime, we could have had a very nice conversation, Larry. But instead, you acted like a buffoon. You said something dumb. You called him a criminal. You said he brings our ratings down, and you are just a moron. 257-5396. But I do enjoy destroying people like you. Let's go to Bill. Bill, what's going on?
Yeah, Brian, I couldn't agree with you more. I see Joe Biden is, to me personally, like George Bush Jr. He's an airhead. Okay, saying something like that, which I caught, is just ridiculous. The guy hesitates when he speaks. I looked up on the internet. He's had at least one type of, I think it was minor brain surgery. I don't know if you're aware of that, back in the 80s. And
I was not. I was not, Bill. But you know what? We agree on this, Bill. People are making excuses, Bill, on social media. You saw what happened. He said, take it easy on me, kid. And people are not, Democrats are not making it. I mean, are you kidding me, Bill? Can you imagine if he gets on a stage with Donald Trump and he says something like that? It's over, right?
That's one of the weakest things that I've ever heard. It's unreal. But he just comes across as an airhead, just like Bush Jr.
Well, listen, Bill.
And it'd be a mistake.
Bill, I'll say this, though, Bill, and you might disagree with me on this one. I respect Joe Biden a lot more than George W. You know why? Because, listen, his father wasn't president. The guy's been in office forever. He has done a lot of good things, whether it's civil rights issues, a lot of policies that I do agree with him on. I respect him as a human being. He's also had a really difficult life, losing his wife and kid.
Yeah,
I think he's a decent man, Bill. I'm not going to trash him as a human being.
I think he's lost his fastball.
I agree. No, Bill.
Just passed him by.
Bill.
And it's a shame. They're banking on this guy.
No, Bill, I agree. Listen, Bill, I agree. That's why months ago I said I'm not going to support him. I appreciate the call, Bill. Thank you very much. Yeah, you have a good day. 257-5396. I agree. He showed a big... I'm telling you, this is going to be on the shows for the next couple days. People are going to talk about this comment. Let's go to Mike. Mike, what's going on?
Good evening, Brian. Good evening, JD.
How you doing? What's on your mind, Mike?
Oh, you guys are doing good, I see.
Thank you, Mike.
Well, the master debaters suck so bad that the cringe level is so high I can't watch it. I just can't cringe anymore. It's killing me. Killing my nervous system.
Okay, well, explain. Go into detail. What's killing you?
It's just so cheesy and over the top, and the pickup stick, Pocahontas. I call her the pickup stick.
Well, let's not call her Pocahontas because let's not try to.
No, I'm not calling her that, but that's what I call Elizabeth Warren. She is a fanatical hand waver, and she's not going to make it. But anyway,
I'm not a big Warren fan. You're not going to hear an argument from me.
I don't like any of them. They all suck.
Well, I mean, I don't think they all... Listen, I like Pete Buttigieg. I think he's a smart man. I think he's a good man. I think Kamala Harris is a fighter. You could disagree with some of her policies, but you cannot say she's not a good debater. You can't say she is not a very strong woman.
I know all that, but I think what they're vying for is a position on TV after all this is over. CNN,
well, I hope you're wrong.
NPR, who knows? But I just got a few things to say here.
Quickly, go ahead.
Reparations to the middle-class folks forced out of California ought to be paid. And what about the Japanese internment camps?
I couldn't agree with you more. I agree. What about Jewish people? I know that didn't happen in America, but what about 7 million Jews dying? Should we charge German Americans, and should they pay?
It's endless, Brian. You could take this and run with it.
I agree.
It's endless.
I agree.
Forever on. How about giving reparations to the black people that the Department of Defense used as test monkeys when they sprayed that stuff with crop sprayers over
Mike, we are in agreement, my friend, and I appreciate the call. I think it is absolutely absurd. And that's why I start this show and say I am angry with Democrats. I really am. Let's go to Glenn. Glenn, what's going on?
Hey, Brian, how are you?
What's up, Glenn? What's on your mind?
Hey, I just wanted to say, as far as reparations go, black people that were put on the ships were herded up by other black people with guns.
Well, listen, I mean, even if that's
history.
I understand, Glenn, but I mean, let's just be honest here. Slavery, there were white people that were owning African Americans at the time. I'm not going to debate you on that. It happened. I'm saying I don't agree with reparations because I had nothing to do with that. I would imagine you had nothing to do with that. Your family had nothing, your immediate family had nothing to do with that. We shouldn't have to pay for that.
Well, my grandparents emigrated from Germany in 2019, so that was before they persecuted the Jews. So I'm clean all around.
Right. Well, I'm happy to hear that, Glenn. I appreciate the call. We agree. But listen, I'm not going to look. Slavery happened, folks. There were a lot of atrocities during those times. Let's go to Rusty. Rusty, what's going on?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
2 quick points about the reparations.
Yes, sir.
First is I think this speaks to one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard, and that is, black people often talk about in criticizing other black people, they say, well, you're not black enough. And other people that are prominent. And I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, what the heck does that mean?
I do also.
It's absolutely ridiculous. And so I think if you start this argument of, well, we need to have reparations. Well, then how black do you have to be? And how far back?
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
You have to prove X number of generations of slavery in your family or of black ancestry.
Yeah, that's a dangerous road.
It's going to create more divisiveness rather than bringing people together and repairing things.
I agree. I mean, I think it'll more racial divide if this thing goes through.
I absolutely agree. And that leads to my second point, and that is I think there's too much hyphenated Americans. I think I don't think that it should matter whether you're African American or German American or Asian American or any other hyphenated American. Why can't we all just be Americans? I think the more we focus on the descent based on the color of our skin, I think the more divided we're going to be. I don't care what color your skin is. If you're going to live in my neighborhood, if you're going to work in my workplace, if we're going to conduct business with each other, then I want people that are intelligent and people that are hardworking. And I don't care if you happen to be black or if you happen to be white or if you happen to be any color.
Rusty, can you do me a favor, Rusty? Can you coach some of these nimrods on the stage tonight? Can you Because I got to tell you,
I'd love to.
As much as I hate Donald Trump, Rusty, and I really think he's a despicable man, I got to tell you something. I am very disappointed with some of these Democrats last night and tonight. Rusty, really eloquent with your words. I appreciate your call, my friend. Thank you so much. And I agree with you 100%. 257-5396. Let's go to Garrett. Garrett, what's up?
Yeah, I was saying that you said some racist things.
Okay, what have I said that's racist?
Well, you referred to, I think it was the Costa Rican people, and, I like them, the Costa Rican people. They're, it's like...
Why is that racist? Hold on a second. I know exactly. I said I like the Filipino people. I think they're great people. Can you explain to me how that comment is racist? What the hell are you talking about?
Condescending.
Condescending? Do you know
like
how many? Do you know how many? Do you know how many Filipino friends I have in Las Vegas alone? I think they are wonderful people. Please explain to me what is
You approve of
You know
them?
what? You're probably wearing a
find them
KKK.
acceptable?
You're probably wearing a KKK outfit as we speak, Garrett. Is that what you're doing? Do you have a Klan meeting tonight? What the hell?
Let's forget that one.
Oh no! I'm going to forget about you because you're a moron. I've never said anything racist in my life, and when I say I like the Filipino people. You think that's condescending? No. Unlike you, I'm a genuine human being. And you sound like you have a very low IQ. And by the way, I'm sure you're attacking Donald Trump for all the racist things he said, right? No. You decide to go after somebody like me, a talk show host, who says I like the Filipino people. I'm telling you, somebody like that does not have a high enough IQ to vote. Let's go to Cameron. Cameron, what's going on? Welcome to the Vegas Take. What's on your mind?
I had two things I wanted to talk about. The thing with the reparations.
Yes, sir.
We inherited slavery from England. England had slaves. France had slaves. There were slaves all over Europe.
Yeah, I mean, but
so are we going to go after them next?
Well, no, of course not. Of course not. Listen, Cameron, we agree. I'm against it.
Yeah, I know. It's just. I don't know. It's just ridiculous.
It sets a very, very dangerous precedence, and I don't like it. I disagree with it, and I think if you're going to spend $500 billion, if you want to, talk about programs to help people, maybe not just people of color, but people that are in poverty, people that need help, people that need. I have no problem with that. But just to say, here you go, here's $500 billion. Here you go.
Yeah.
We're going to give it out to all these African Americans, and even though 99% of this money is from people that had nothing to do with slavery, here you go anyway. I think is utterly ridiculous.
The other thing, probably the one thing that bothers me the most is, well, from our $3 trillion surplus, we're going to pay for all of these programs. When you start adding them up.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point.
You got to be freaking kidding me.
That's a good point. But Cameron, I'm sure you would agree, Donald Trump has not helped the deficit any. In fact, he's made it a lot worse.
Well, yeah, but we get a Democrat president in there, and it's going to make Donald Trump look like a.
Cameron, well, hold on a second, Cameron. Let me pull it by. Do you know Donald Trump has put us more into a deficit than Obama?
Yeah, but Obama put everyone in. It basically doubles every president. But if we basically pay for all these programs that they're going to put in
we
place,
agree on that.
It's going to make it look like we're going to go bankrupt. We'll just go under.
We already are under, unfortunately, Cameron. We don't necessarily disagree, but I wouldn't say Donald Trump is doing a very good job getting us out of it. In fact, he's made it worse. Let's go to Michael. Michael, what's going on?
I just want to say one thing, and I'll get off your show. You have a great show. You have great opinions. And it's people like that the Filipino thing a while ago that just pisses me off.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't say anything anymore without somebody dragging some word or slang that you brought out of, well, they're racist. Carry on your good show. Love hearing you, and that person's an idiot.
Michael, I appreciate the call, my friend. Thank you. You got me to laugh. And we concur. He is an idiot. That's the same guy who's never going to criticize, David Duke, but he's going to call into this show, and he's going to say, oh, you said something racist because you like Filipino people. I mean, are you kidding me? Let's go to Tom. Tom, what's going on?
Hey, how are you doing, Brian?
Doing good, Tom. What's on your mind?
Hey, a couple things. Well, first of all, reparations are ridiculous because you're talking about the expectation is who's going to pay for the reparations. That's really where my point is made, is that you're talking about an increased tax spending. So there aren't any African Americans that pay taxes in the United States of America.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So are they exempt? Are they exempt from paying taxes then?
That's a good point. And the other caller, Tom, that called in, a few callers, he said, well, where do we start? How about the Japanese people? How about Jews? Right. I mean, where do you end this? It's insane. And I'm going to tell you something. It's going to make the racial divide in this country worse. It really is. Yeah. It's not going to make it better, Tom.
That's not good. Now let's go into spending, because I know you just mentioned that. But which candidate, including President Trump, out of all the candidates running, and let's just take the top 5, okay, that are polling the best in the Democratic race right now, out of the top 5 and Trump, out of all the promises that are being made, so you take Sanders' promises, Biden's promises, Harris's promises, Trump's promises, the wall and everything else, take all of that into consideration, who increases the spending the most out of all of those candidates?
That is a very, very tough question. It is a loaded question, and I'll tell you what I'm going to do, Tom. I'm going to try to answer that when we come back, because I don't want to give you a short answer. It's a very good question, and I'm glad you asked, and I'll answer that as soon as we get back. I want to take one more call. Let's go to Brady. Brady, I got about 30 seconds for you, my man, and then I got to take a break. Go ahead.
Yeah, right on. I saw part of that the second night of the Democrat Dingling Brothers circus, and the best quote that I had was when Booker and Biden were going at it. They're still going at it right now, but Booker said to Biden, hey, Biden, you're dipping in the Kool-Aid and you don't know the flavor. That's kind of like a racist kind of thing to say, wouldn't you think?
No, I don't think. Who said that, by the way?
Booker.
No, I don't think that's racist. Why would that be racist, dipping in the Kool-Aid? I mean, what he's trying to say is, you're drinking the Kool-Aid and you're dipping into money.
Okay, well,
it's a
well,
no.
But let's just go to what the substance was. They're hammering him on. Biden wants to go back, reverse everything that Trump did to get Obamacare done with.
No, I understand, Brady. Brady, I totally understand, and I'm sorry I had to cut you off there, but I'm up against a hard break. I understand what Booker's trying to do. He's trying to say, look, what you did didn't work. You're trying to dip back into the Kool-Aid for what you did during the Obama administration. I understand what Booker's saying. Just don't think it's working. All right, I'm going to answer Tom's question when I come back. Who do you think would spend the less of these top 5 Democrats? Also, you're not going to believe what Ronald Reagan said back in the day. We'll get to that coming up next. You're listening to The Vegas Take.